Good morning, everyone. This is the Knox County Commissioners, January 8th, 2026 meeting. We're starting at 9 o'clock today because we had to go visit the Bat Nest Road later on this morning. We do have bid openings at 10 o'clock this morning as well as at 10:15. But this morning, our purpose at 9 o'clock is to review the non-general fund operating budget for 2026. So you'll see items on the screen and you'll be able to get a great clarification from Cheryl Splain as she puts it in English in the Knox pages. Jason, take us through our process.
Yes. All right, Commissioner. So this is we've already adopted the general fund budget. This is obviously the non-general fund. These are special revenue funds. And this is really, you approve this. These are budgets that you don't necessarily have direct oversight over, but you do have to have the function of approving the final budget so it can be uploaded. And so if you kind of just look at Andrew's chart, we'll go through that before we dive in, but the total non-general fund budget is $64,710,365. That comprises a little over 14 million in JFS funding. Knox DD is about 10 million. The capital improvements, permanent improvements is around 9.8. Engineer is 9.2. Those are the large ones. And then obviously it goes down, and that just kind of gives you a highlight of those. This also doesn't show up on this report, but when we pull the final budget in, it'll also include Knox Public Health. And when we look at Knox Public Health, as well as this and the general fund, the total budget that will be appropriated will be $108 million this year. So the health department was around 14.6 million, 14.7 million. That doesn't show on this sheet, but it will get pulled into the total budget. So if we look at your packet, which won't be on the screen, but your packet there on page 1. If you look, for instance, DD, you don't have direct oversight of the DD budget, but their budget shows there is 9.6 million plus 337,000 for Help Me Grow. And so we're not going to go down through each one of these, but I'm going to kind of hit the highlights of the ones that are commissioner level departments or certain things that I want to pull out. On page 2, the top, the 202 fund, that is dog and kennel. That's being budgeted at $422,500 for this year. We did take for this year, we're not pulling expenses out for animal care, and you'll see later on, we did create that fund for animal care. We're trying to just get that fund established and growing. So Brian and I talked is let's not kind of tap that fund for 2026 and let it grow. Hopefully get some additional donations as the year goes. So we did not pull out those expenses for 2026 out of dog and kennel, but we hope to 2027 forward.
And that fund you're talking about did get a good boost from the Knox Pages funds of $907. So that was good.
Let's see if we go back here a couple pages. A lot of these are juvenile, just grants. Let me find my notes here. Back on page 5. On the second budget number down there, 224 account, that's the VOCA, the victims assistance grant, or that lives up in the prosecutor's office. So we kind of point out that budget's $70,234. Around 30,000 of that is funded by the county general fund. We have a match. So the total budget is here, but part of her funding comes from the county general fund, and we help fund that through county match.
So of that 70-30 of it is coming out of the
correct. Yeah, approximately. Yeah. Right under that, you do see the animal care. That's the new fund, and you'll see there's no appropriations in there. We're just going to leave that for 6. The last item on page 5 is 911. Where budget is $2.6 million. That's pretty much a flat budget number. We did have some increases in compensation due to the labor union contract, but that was really offset by we no longer have any debt. If you look there, about halfway down the debt repayment, there was $35,000 we had to pay in 2025. We've now all the debt has paid off down there, and so that $35,000 savings was basically the offset in salary. So their budget was pretty much flat for 2026.
And that's fully funded by the 0.25% sales
That's correct.
tax that
That's
people
correct.
pay when they buy items.
When you start in on page 6, and it goes into page 7, that is Job and Family Services, Public Assistance. Several of these funds, but that one in particular is their public assistance is 6.7 million. And we'll look at the children's services here in a minute, but that's just the public assistance side, because we talked about the total JFS budget need is 14.1 million, and this public assistance is 6.7 million of that. The last item on page 7, litter control and recycling. So that is Matt Bogger's position and department, and that is funded by Solid Waste District 100%. So that's his grant that covers that. On the next page, child support enforcement. Again, that's part of JFS. That's a little over $1 million for the child support enforcement budget. Nothing really, just I want to point out all the JFSs because those are obviously commissioners have oversight over that department. On page 9, that is the county engineer's budget, 7.9 million. And that's for gas tax, permissive auto tax, is what funds that budget. And so obviously Cameron watches that tightly and depend on the monies that come in. It does show a slight increase in the budget from 2025 to 2026. Part of that is, if you look, there's like a $400,000 increase in materials for roads. And he'll probably need to speak to you specifically about what projects he has planned for 2026, but his budget does show an increase in that. On the next page at the bottom is Fund 239. That's on page 10. That is your children's services. That's funded predominantly through the levy. And that is 5.5 million. You see they're showing a reduction of 1.1 million in that budget. And a bulk of that is in contract service. And I think obviously Scott's continuing to watch that as closely as possible. Their funding is extremely tight. And the general fund is continuing to fund $1 million of that cost to children's services.
Back one, Jason,
Yes.
the engineers, employee and salaries out there are 423,000 this year, basically.
Yeah, hold on, let me get back one.
Page
What
9,
line you on?
page 9, the top 2
Yeah.
lines.
So, yeah. So if you go, let me hang on. If you go, that's for his administrative staff, office staff, the other engineers. If you go down to that 236, 1541, 50101, salaries, employees, engineer and roads.
236 what?
1541, 50101. It says salaries, employees. It's about,
There you go, okay.
that's 1.7 million. That's the actual salaries of the union employees and the road workers and that kind of stuff.
So you're at 2 million total salary for
Yes.
that engineering office?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. On page 11, Emergency Management Agency, the budget's 259,000. Again, 110,000 of that is funded by the county general fund that we help offset the cost of the EMA, the funding needs. I think this year, talk to JT a little, is going to be an interesting year to kind of see how all of his funding works out from the state and the federal level. But it could be very tight. But at this point, the county general fund, the last few years, we've been funding 110,000, and that's what we budgeted for this year. At the bottom of that page, there's a couple funds that Judge Wetzel's court no longer uses, so they're still in there because we had them in last year to tie out prior year budget. They need to stay in there, but those funds are no longer used. They've transitioned to some different grants. We start on page 13, that's the transit budget. That's a pretty long and lengthy budget, and it actually goes over into the next page. Transit budget is 2.8 million. Prior year, we were around 3.2. We're just doing the best we can with the cuts at the federal level that have trickled down to the state level. And I know I talked to Bethany, and there's, they're getting some backlash from the public about services aren't always available as quickly or as timely as they want them, and we're just trying to do the best we can with the funding that they have available. We're going to have to make those difficult decisions based on what the funding allows us to do. And at this point, she is juggling and covering as best they can with the staffing that we have, but you will see we do expect some budget reductions in 2026 for that.
So with the construction of the transit facility, then this we don't know what the utility costs and stuff like that are going to be. But I know we're doing some shell games to be able to.
Right. This is all based on the current location, the utilities and stuff, right? The current location. Yeah. And, down there, we will have to do some cost analysis because we're not going to have more than one meter on that building, obviously, and we're going to have other uses and potentially other organizations in that building, including the county conference center. So we'll have to allocate something out for that. But
By square foot.
yeah, but we're not going to multi-meter the building or anything. It was expensive enough to get 1 meter. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and in that process, we had to split out with our meter was with like three other buildings down
right.
there, and
Right.
AEP was able to get that split in the late fall, I believe.
Yeah. So we'll do I'll do a cost allocation and based on square footage, and we'll charge them back that way for it. Let's see, the rest of several of these are just grants. Nothing I wanted to go over with you on that. On page 16, it's a small, just one line item there, but it's I'm sorry, above that, lodging tax. That is just a pass through as the county receives lodging tax. That funding goes to the Visitors Bureau. So that just kind of shows you the budget is about 270,000. Could be more, could be less, but that's what they have budgeted. The auditor's office had budgeted for that. And then underneath that is the One Ohio. That's our opioid funding. I went ahead and put 300,000 in there. I don't know if we'll issue more grants in 2026 or not, but we went ahead and put something in there. So if we do issue grants, we have the appropriations ready to go. We do have those 4 grants that were issued late in 25. Transit reserve, the last item at the bottom page. So that's just that fund that Bethany had created where if they get contract funding and things, they can put that money in a reserve fund to use for expenses. And so we anticipate, we hope that we could put 100,000 away, but with the budget, we'll see. Chances are that may not happen. The revolving loan at the top of 17, that's managed by ADF on behalf of for the county. ADF manages that. And that's just assuming that they would be some business loans that would take place that the revolving loan committee may want to fund in 2026. Then you just get into the bond retirement. Those are just bond payments that the auditor's office makes on behalf of groups or departments within the county. Some of those are general funds, some of those are not. If they're general funds, we transfer the money to here and then it's paid. And then other departments do the same, and then those are paid. Permanent improvement, I want to kind of pull that one out. That's a big one. So 401 down near the bottom of page 17. So that's our, what I call our capital project fund. The reason that is so large is we have had some discussions, or you have had some discussions with the engineer about potentially doing a large bond project for him for the salt barn and the facility. So I budgeted $4 million for that bond. Again, that doesn't commit us to anything. This is just putting it in appropriation. So if we would do the bond and the money would come in, we have the appropriations ready that we could use. But if we don't have the money, we obviously can't spend it.
We're probably gonna hold off on a major capital investment like that until
We
we
absolutely.
know
Yeah.
where we're at
Where-
on taxes probably.
Right. So it's there. It doesn't mean there's money there. Again, this is just an appropriation.
Yeah.
So there's no cash to go with it at this time.
Right.
But it would just be there if needed. The 1.7 million that's there under the Series 2025 bond, that is cash that we have on hand. That's the money that was borrowed in 2025 to build out the business center, transit center. So that's ready to go. And then the 1.4 million is what we have kind of discussed as just capital projects that the county we may need to do. I know the elevator at the courthouse is down again, and we're estimating that to be $500,000 to $550,000 to replace that, and it's probably going to have to get done in 26 because we're having a company come back, look at it again, but we're continuing to put money in that elevator, and it's not holding up. So,
And
That
it's
is
what,
funded.
60-70 years?
1961 it was installed.
Are they in the process of bidding replacement?
We
Is
haven't
that
yet.
Underway.
We haven't yet. We have a consultant that is kind of working on all the specs to get everything together to get it out to bid. But we were really waiting for 2026 funding and to make sure we're gonna fund it and do it. So
And do one of those chairs that you hook up to the rail and go up.
That we see on TV.
yeah, get them up there in about 5 minutes. Yeah, so that is part of that 1.4 million and it's ready to go. But yes, Brenda, we're gonna partner and meet with him, I think soon. The vendor that kind of puts all the specs together, and then we're gonna have to get it out to bid.
Because even once we get the bid, it takes
It's
a
gonna-
bit to get it done,
To
right?
get it done, and it'll probably be 3 to 4 months to probably do it. I mean, it took a while to do these in this building, so. Yeah. The top of page 18, CDBG funds, so that is our grants that we get. Julian comes in or Amy Shocking comes in from CDC and they manage those for us. Just to kind of call out, the 2 grants that we've been awarded that looks like gonna happen this year is the Danville Park improvements. And then the Danville critical infrastructure. I think they're doing some water improvements. So all of that money, the 644,000 is all being allocated to Danville in 2026. And those are just funded through grants. It's not any cost to the county. When you go look at those 420s, that's just the capital funds that we have set aside for the service center, the courthouse, the sheriff's office, and the board of elections. We currently have 500,000 in each of those funds, and then 400,000 in the board of elections. And so this is just assuming if we had to spend that money this year, if we put any money in there this year and had to spend it, we've appropriated it, so it would be there if needed. But I certainly hope we don't need to touch any of those funds this year and let those continue to build. Our ditch funds, which we've talked a lot about ditch funds. If you look at Ford Creek, that's $6,918. That's not based on the new assessments or anything. That was based on what we currently have. So you won't see any increase in there.
Well, and then when we talk about those new assessments, we set that in May.
Exactly. So, and then by the time you collect, it would
Be
be
next year.
next year. So those are a change. The last item there, Muskingum watershed, that's just a pass through the auditor's office that gets collected, put in that fund, and then it gets sent to Muskingum watershed.
Okay, go back up to 418, Jason, engineer project.
Yeah, oh yeah, I missed that one. Yes.
It's
So that-
down $5 million.
Yeah, so those are what they call pass-through funds. So it's money that indirectly comes into the county or the county engineer, if he has, like a road, like a bridge project or road project. So if you look, he probably had some big projects that he was doing last year. And
Mhm.
those, I know Cameron mentions a lot of times it takes 4 to 5 years to get all that funding.
Yeah, about $4 million worth. of
Yeah,
taken
so
care of
last
this
year, and I can't speak to that. I don't know if that was relating to, any of that was relating to some of those bridges we did last year. Also, he had down here safety study. I don't know if there's anything related to the Danville Amity Road
Yeah.
or what that was. So
Yep.
it kind of does go that way. Barry, some years it's higher, some years it's low, and it's and the money, I don't believe that money even directly comes into the county. It's just it gets booked as pass through because it gets paid how it comes in and goes back out for those projects. And we could ask Cameron about that specifically, but that's all federal and state highway money for specific grant projects. Yeah, thanks for catching that. I forgot to mention that to you. Page 19, that's the water wastewater fund, Jeff's budget. 2.4 million for wastewater, 1.8 million for water. Those are increases. He's got, some contracts, projects. We're trying to decide exactly how he's gonna fund the well. We're gonna open that phase 1 of the well, I think. Today.
Today, yes.
The cost that came in was certainly a lot higher than he anticipated to do the well. So we're kind of working on whether that can be funded out of here or he's gonna have to take out some debt for that. So we're kind of still working through that process. But his budget is increasing for some of those costs. Soil and water on page 20, they just kind of provide us our budget, but we do provide $217,000 to soil and water. And then he gets state match on that money that helps with his budget. Above that, I forgot to call out 751 fund that's the senior citizen, that's the senior levy fund. So we're estimating 1.2 million would come in the levy. Again, that's give or take, but that's what the estimate is for 2026.
And then that senior levy funds, we do contract with the area aging to be able to handle some of the senior.
That's correct. That's the line item at the top, the 125. That's the senior, that's for that contract, what JFS gets, and then everything else, the levy proceeds is what goes to the senior levy or to the senior centers. Regional Planning Commission, at the bottom of that page, Fund 946, their budget's 75,600, and then again, 26,000 of that is funded by the county general fund. And then on the last page, you have the Park District, their budget's $673,850. We don't have any oversight over that, but I want to just call that out. It's just, they their board handles all of that, but it does get rolled up into this budget. And then the same with Family and Children First Council. JFS is considered the fiduciary for Children and Family First Council, so it is a non-general fund department, and it gets.
Jason, can we go back to regional planning for a
Yeah,
minute?
yeah.
We previously give them 26, or we give them 28 this year, give them 2,000 more.
Yeah, you give them 26.
You're budgeting 28 though, right?
Well, that is, this is just their expense. You don't see their revenue
Okay.
side. It's just of the $75,600 that they budgeted, 26,000 of that would get covered by the county.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So when we roll all that up, it's 64.7 million. And then you add another 14.6 million for public health that will get included when we actually pull the budget in. That doesn't include it on this sheet. So total appropriations countywide for all funds would be 108 million or $36,076, with revenues of 97,691,188. That's for you.
Thank you.
Net deficit is made out to the general fund.
No, not through jump fund, it's just made up through their carryover fund, so they'll use some of those funds, the way the grants go, they might have money left from 25 that they're gonna use in 26, and so it's just some of the carryover will get eaten up through their budget process. Yep. So that's it, unless you have questions, that hopefully will conclude the 2026 budget process.
Any questions, Barry, Brendan?
No, I mean, I'll look at it and if I have any, I'll get with Jay something.
Yeah,
And
I'll give you your quiz later.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. So we need to do a motion to approve this.
That's
accept
correct.
this, correct?
Motion to approve.
I second it.
And those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that process. And then, are we gonna do?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do these and then we can adjourn until, or not adjourn, but just recess until the bid openings.
Okay, so then, yes, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we employ,
That's wrong.
is it Gory, is that how you say
Gory.
it? Gory?
Gory, yes.
Employ Kelly Gory of Rich and Gillis Law Group, and this will be counsel to assist with board of revisions and Ohio Board of Tax Appeals for 2026.
Take a motion for that.
One motion to approve.
I second it.
And those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that requires all three commissioners' signatures. Authorize the Knox County Auditor to release permissive tax funds to the village of Fredericktown, the amount of $19,933.44 as recommended by the county engineer, King Beaton.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then we have approve and authorize certifications for Ohio Public Works Commission, disbursements for Mishi Road resurfacing in the amount of $38,063.67.
Motion to approve.
I second
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that one just needs Bill's signature. And then we have your set of bills there. And I believe that is it, Commissioners, till 10 o'clock. So Andrew can
Time to go get breakfast.
put us on hold until 10 for the
Your
middle.
second breakfast, yeah. Yeah, so we will go into recess up until 10 o'clock and at 10 o'clock, then we will come back and do our bids at 10 o'clock and also at 10:15. So please stand by. Thank you. Okay, so we're back up and running again for the 10 o'clock bid opening for the Knox County Water and Wastewater Well number 7 development. The estimate for it was 95,000, and if you went above that from what I was hearing. That was one portion. Is there more than?
Yeah, we will have a second, there'll be a second phase. to
Okay,
this.
okay, so on this,
First phase.
this is the bid phase. So Commissioner, you got one there?
I have one from Jameson.
Okay. So from Jameson, the bid spec for that is $93,590. 93,590. 93,950. And
This one would be from National Water Services.
so from National Water Services, we have a bid of $198,891. 198,891. 198,891. That was from National Water Services.
Moody's of Dayton.
The Moody's of Dayton. Their bid. Is 155,000. 155000. 155000. And is that it?
That's
then?
it.
So we had three bids that came in. We'll give those to Jeff, who will review those and check those, and then once he does that, then the commissioners then will award the bid. And then how long do you
We should be
think?
turned around within a week.
Okay, so by next Thursday, we should be able to announce that.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for all you
Thank you.
came
you,
and
guys.
been good. We appreciate that.
All right. And do you need anything?
You'll probably need copies.
Do you need from it?
Not right now.
I'm gonna just with my house and that.
Yeah,
Folks have a
thank you.
wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you. You have a good weekend now. Appreciate it.
Were you able to look at them?
Yeah, no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
It's open.
First bid, so.
Yeah.
Apparently you didn't win. Did you win?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, since these have
that's
been
fine.
opened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's yours. You want to look at yours?
Yeah, once we open them up in the public session, it's public records.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So while people are clearing out, our next bid opening won't take place until 15 after. So we'll go ahead and do some announcements. This coming Wednesday, the Knox County Spelling Bee will take place at Mount Vernon High School. I believe that's at 7 o'clock. 6:30. I have to pull up my calendar here.
I fix on the calendar, but I don't know if that's for us or for the.
Yeah, yeah, it's been in Knox pages multiple times, so Cheryl probably had that all memorized as to what time the spelling bee, but it's next Wednesday night at the Mount Vernon High School Theater. So those people who think you're better spellers than the kids, you come out. One of the advantages that the commissioners have, they have the words properly spelled in front of us before they are announced. And then Commissioner Lester was at the Knox County Fair Board meeting last night.
We are going to, the commissioners are going to help them with some asphalt dollars. They need out there. So the meeting went well. It was actually shorter than usual.
So fun.
Yeah, it went well.
You was talking about the demolition of the house.
Yeah. For those of you who are watching or listening, if you're familiar with the fairgrounds, when you pull into the main gate on the right, just before you reach the bottom of the hill, there's an old gray house. Looks like some type of moldboard duplex type of moved in house. That will be demolished. Once that's demolished, the commissioners will put a flagpole up, a nice sign, and have some beautification done around the area there. So should be nice when it's all done. And our plans is to have it done by fair, the asphalt and everything. So
Yes. Yeah, that'd be good. And then we're just in the waiting period right now for the transit building bids to come back. And we're excited about hopefully and optimistic that the bids will come back within our parameters and be able to do that award and get that project going. I know the city of Mount Vernon, if you've driven by between Habitat and our building down there, you see where it looks pretty rugged. I think they're having a bid opening here before long if it hasn't taken place already. And so with that process, they'll fix that alleyway there. So. And then after we have our bid opening at 10:15, we will load up the vehicles and go down the Bat Nest Road. You're gonna go down too, right? I understand that from the engineer's office, and we will do the viewing of the Bat Nest Road, and we're gonna do that off of what's the name of the road?
7:15.
Wall hunting road.
Wall Hunting Road and 715 will be on that end of the road, which will be actually in Butler Township. We are not going to do any attempt to try to get into Union Township section of it because it takes an all-terrain vehicle to get out of Butler Township to get into it.
We attempted it.
Yeah, we attempted it, and Commissioner Lester used his full four-wheel experience with our Ford Escape, I think it was, to get out of there. And then we went in through the Coshocton side and parked as far down as we could, and then we had to deal with the dogs from the person's house while we were there. And Andrew took the time with his drone to walk down through the snow. And to get down as far as he could to take some drone footage of it.
And nobody tried to shoot the drone down.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. And then Tim, you want to come up here to the front stage here? We're
gotta tell
killing
you,
time until 10:15.
that's a really wonderful hat you're wearing.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost that season again. The
Yeah.
registration for
Yeah.
baseball's starting already.
Really?
Mm. So while we're waiting, Tim, you want to talk a little bit about what the county engineers are wanting to do with the paver?
Yeah, so mostly what we do is patch bridges or repave bridges after we waterproof concrete decks.
And
Mobilization costs from contractors and such is outrageous nowadays. So we save a substantial amount of money running our own paver. We are using it for a substantial amount of patching now too. We found out that we're getting better compaction right off the machine because the screed actually gives you compaction versus using a blade tractor or something like that to put patch material down.
does this unit attach to the back of the truck, or is it separate from the
It's a
truck?
self-propelled paver.
Okay.
Or that's the intent. It's a used machine. New machine is $500,000 plus.
Okay.
It doesn't really fit into the budget, so that's why we've advertised or requested proposals on the used machine.
Yeah, and you did have a used machine that did finally ran out of gas.
Oh.
Diesel fuel. Or,
We still have it
okay.
just in case this doesn't work out.
Okay.
But it's definitely on its last leg.
Okay.
Do we handle the maintenance of the current one we have, and would we handle the maintenance of the when you purchase it?
Yes, yeah, we do all the maintenance.
And then is the county engineer's office still needing drivers to be hired?
Yes, yeah, we're still looking for good guys to join the team. We're at like 21, 22 guys right now. We have 13 plow routes in the county, so we have to be around the clock. We don't have all of our routes covered.
So is seasonal you're looking for?
No, full-time guys,
Okay.
I don't know that we've ever done seasonal type employment with anything other than, college summer help
Road
kids
help.
that
Yeah.
flag traffic.
Flag track.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, to be on around the clock, we need a minimum of 26 drivers. With the superintendents and mechanics that have CDLs, we're right at that. So, but it's hard to put everybody in trucks.
Mhm.
You don't have a response force for anything else. So,
And then we had 4 trucks that were down because the EPA said we couldn't use them, but you've been given the green light to use those.
so we'll phase those trucks out over the next 7 years. There were safety issues with them the way they were, so there were some changes made in those trucks to make them safer and more useful. And we've worked out the circumstances with the EPA to utilize those till the end of their life, basically.
Yeah. And then the drivers work Monday through Friday.
Monday
Or
through
Thursday.
Yeah,
And the time is that they work
6:30 to 4. 6:30 to 4:30, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, is there anyone that has to work the Monday through Friday schedule? Is it
So the
office?
engineer's office is open, Monday through Friday.
Okay,
Yeah, but the garage, yeah, we're on call 24/7,
So you're working
365.
410s, basically.
410s, correct.
and you've done that for what, 3 or 4 years now? The 410s?
I've been there going on 8 years and they've been doing it.
Really?
I
It's
think,
been
I
that
think
long, okay.
Jim Henry actually implemented the 410s before he was gone, so.
And then projects that you're planning on working, doing this year, what's on the agenda for the county engineers for roads and things?
Yeah, so a lot of that, we budget for so many miles of road going into the first of the year. Ultimately, we take a hard look at them after the snow season, after our freeze thaw cycles. That's really determines what we end up fixing. I think we should get close to 20 miles of resurfacing, that being an overlay and chip seal this year with our budget. And then we're shooting for 7,000 ton of patch material
Wow.
in addition to the contracted paving, just to, get on those roads that aren't getting a full overlay and keep those in passable shape.
And the engineer's office helps the townships do their assessment as to when they're wanting roads to be done, as to what the cost factor would be for that. So,
That's
right, and you
correct.
still do that. And I know you help them out with the OPWC grants if they go after those. And I know you frequently go after those as well. So,
Yes.
so I think we still have 1 more minute before we actually do it's 10:14. And we have just the one bid.
One.
Okay. Well, we want to be faithful to our 10:15 in case someone would come in the next 37 seconds. So when that happens, then we have the one bid package from Southeastern, is it? Commissioner Barry,
You ready?
well, I'm asking, is it from Southeastern? So
Yes, it's southeast.
And what we do, public may not always see this, but we have a sign-in sheet for every bid package that comes in. And so everyone who is in attendance for these meetings need to sign in. And so we did that for the 10 o'clock session, have a different sign-in sheet for this session at 10:15, and we are there. So we will open up the bid package for the paver, used paver. And the one package that we have is from Southeastern Equipment Company, and I know we're familiar with them in the process. Did you have an estimate at all?
We did
for
not.
this? Okay, did not have an estimate. So the bid for the used paver is $131,170. $131,170. So 131,170. And that is of course, that it's a used piece of equipment, and what year it is and what condition it will be something that the commissioners or the engineer's office will evaluate.
Were you guys looking for a certain year or certain hours, or what were you looking
We
for?
put a range.
Of hours? And
Yeah,
years?
range we want a current model, obviously, because
Sure.
parts availability is a huge deal.
Yes.
So we kind of laid
Yeah.
out some ranges there. We knew it's lots of machines out there, but trying to get one that
Yeah.
fits within the ranges.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which is important because I know several townships over the years would try to get a used grader, and then they get a grader and they found out we can't get any parts for it. So, yeah, it's
that's
important.
exactly where we're at with our blow knocks right now.
Oh,
We're
okay.
running out of parts.
Yeah, good. Yes. Well, Tim, you have this bid, and you'll get back with the commissioner's office with Jason and Penny as to whether it is one that you'll be able to accept and live with. We'll go from there, and I know that you probably lost sleep last night thinking about going down to the Bat Nest Road this morning. I did, but we're good at that. So appreciate you being here. Is there any other business we need to conduct?
Yeah.
No. We've done all of our resolutions. Anything, Brenda, you want to say?
We're great.
Okay,
New Year,
good. Thank you, and I'll take a motion for adjournment, and
motion to adjourn.
Second.
so we stand adjourned until next Tuesday.